Shalom, Kaholo, Yahweh Hashem Yahushua, Hashem Kakodash, double honors to the elder apostles and elder bishops of GMS, including the elders that came before them that taught us this truth. Shalom and salutations to all the brothers out pushing the word of truth and in sincerity. The hopeful elect tabernacle of David on the brother Yahshua One, back with the WW3 Daily update. Shalom and salutations to you. We're going to make it quick. This is Tuesday. Just a little quick update. Luke 11 and 18. If Satan also be divided against himself, okay, what does that mean? You got to know who Satan is. All right, it's talking about the nation of Edom, not the spiritual demon Satan. All right, who's running the world as we know it right now? Esau, the so-called white man. All right, Vladimir Putin is an Edomite. Joe Biden is an Edomite. That's Satan divided against himself. They're supposed to be on the same page, bringing in the New World Order. But as you can see, World War III can't be stopped. So we'll ask the question again. If Satan also be divided of himself, and that's not a question. Here's the question. How shall his kingdom stand? Hey, Babylon. The Babylonian system is coming to an end. If Satan also be divided against himself, how shall his kingdom stand? Because ye say that I cast out devils through Beelzebub. All right? That's the question. Let's go over here and watch this. This is old Nate Dogg. Right? Hold up. Hey. Right here. Canadian Prepper. Yesterday, July 18th. Cancel your plans. They're really going to do it. Okay? So let's watch this. You got to remember, warfare is not only shooting projectiles at each other. Okay? You got cyber warfare. You got asymmetric warfare. I'm not shipping no grain, no wheat out to nobody. I'm not going to turn on the Nord Stream. You understand? No power for you. 7 days of darkness. All right? There are many ways to wage war. Cyber attacks. Who's doing that? I'm going to shut your grid down. All right, let's watch this.
The flip side, you have people shivering in panic over what Russia just did, over what Russia's national gas company, Gazprom, just did. They declared a force majeure. If you didn't know, Russia provides the bulk of gas, natural gas, to Europe.
To Europe. Wait a minute. That's Satan against himself. Vlad the Edomite said, I'm not giving you Edomites in Western Europe none of this power. What is that going to do? Why did World War II start? What lured the Japanese into Pearl Harbor and attacking the U.S.? It was about oil, right? Energy. Well, what the hell is going on here? Okay. What did he say? Nord Stream. Here we go.
And a lot of the oil as well. And they basically declared a force majeure on the
Hold on.
If you didn't know, Russia provides the bulk of gas, natural gas, to Europe, and a lot of the oil as well. And they basically declared a force majeure on the contracts that they have with various countries, which allows them to exit the contract due to unforeseen circumstances, or extraordinary circumstances, I believe it's worded. So this is basically them saying that we are pulling the plug indefinitely on certain countries, and maybe all countries, maybe just all of Europe is going to get it. They don't really know just yet. If you didn't know, Russia shut down their Nord Stream 1 pipeline, which is the main pipeline that ships natural gas to Germany and other countries. And they shut it down for 10 days for maintenance, and they're waiting on this turbine to be sent back from Canada to fix it, and they couldn't because Canada didn't want to send it back.
Okay, That's natural gas. Guess what? Saudi Arabia, the oil barons of the world, are buying Russian oil. Not gas, oil. And selling it. They're buying it real cheap. Okay, which is outside of the deal that they made, OPEC, that they made with Babylon the Great. Why? Because they're at war. There's a war going on. You know what you need to create jet fuel? You know what you need to make a tank run? Okay, you can't have no war, or you can have one, you just ain't gonna do so well if you can't power your war machine. Or you gotta keep things like this in mind. This is the setup for what? World War III.
Okay, we're going to send it back. Zelensky got really mad, threw a fit, and I guess he expects that Europe is just supposed to freeze. Well, if they're freezing, how can they send you money for tanks and weapons and all that fun stuff? So you got to walk a fine line here, Zeke. Now, what's happened is that the Germans are suspecting that maybe, and the French also are suspecting that maybe they're not going to turn this gas pipeline back on, especially in light of what they declared today, this force majeure, okay, basically absolving them of any liability that they might have within these type of contracts. I don't even know, I mean, when you're in a state of world war, do contracts really matter that much anymore? Anyways, is there, there's a fine line, I guess, between a red line, I suppose, for a lot of this legalese and international laws as it pertains to the big war that's coming, and we're already in the first phases of it. So this is huge, guys. This is very, very huge, because this means that the European economy could potentially be crashed as a result of this. If they don't get gas, the European economy is finished. And if it means that much to them, if Ukraine means that much to them, that tells you something. That tells you either it's really, really important, or the war is so much of a racket and there's so many greedy people trying to profit off the military-industrial complex that the force of that is just that powerful that they're willing to plunge their countries into the economic dark ages and potentially have more governments fall. We've already seen Johnson fall, seen the Italian president resign. There's likely going to be more of that turbulence. We're seeing this stuff going on in the Netherlands. So that tells you that this is very important. It's so important. Perhaps they think, and I'm talking about Europe, that the Russian bear is actually going to claw its way westward all the way. Perhaps they're really worried about it, and it's not just a ruse. Perhaps they really genuinely fear Russia that much that they're willing to go all the way and put themselves into economic Armageddon as a result of this, so much so that the euro is now trading below the dollar for the first time ever. That's pretty extreme, considering the euro used to be a lot more. I think it used to be like 2 to the dollar or something like that at its peak, even more than that. So this is pretty extreme. And I would just encourage all my European friends, guys, do not wait. Do not wait. If you ever go to SHDF school, listen to Selko's stories about, I believe was it Bosnia or was it Serbia? I can't remember. It was one of those places, the war that broke out in the Balkans, and he will encourage you to become a prepper right quick. Okay, when you see how fast this situation can potentially degrade. I would not count on your U.S. counterparts to come to your aid when it all hits the fan.
And that's in the scriptures there. They're all going to turn on Babylon the Great. All right. Go on, Nate.
U.S. counterparts to come to your aid when it all hits the fan. Because the fact of the matter is, as great as alliances is on paper, these NATO alliances, it looks real nice. Remember, we're all individual countries in the end, and everybody's looking out for their own self-interest. And it seems at this point, though, it really does seem that there's something, there's a force bigger than just Ukrainian nationalism at this point.
How about Shimei Oshai? His direction on the steps of
I mean, because how is this going to end? You got Medvedev declaring that an attack on Crimea will ignite Judgment Day. You have Ukrainians who are steadfast on saying we will not give anything. We will not give an inch. In fact, we're going to use the 300-kilometer range missiles that the U.S. is likely going to provide us to shoot the Crimean Bridge, which will doom us to endure a major, major strike on Kiev, because that's what Medvedev is referring to. Okay, so this is, and they just came out and said today that there is no way. That's the only way that they're. The condition for peace talks with Moscow is that Russia must be defeated.
What? Say that again. Let's hear that again. How? What is the condition for peace talks?
The condition for peace talks with Moscow is that Russia must be defeated. Okay, that's it. So, you got to ask yourself, how can this go? Because they're saying that in 2 weeks they're going to do this big offensive. Russia has stated if you do the offensive, it's going to be Judgment Day. And this is not only in response to the Crimean Bridge.
Do you hear the language that he's using? If you don't know what an offensive is, look up the TET, T-E-T, offensive. Okay? That's what turned the tide in Vietnam. And Babylon the Great got their ass kicked. All right? The Vietnamese launched an offensive where they're on the offense. So, you got Zelensky talking about, well, we finna go on the offense. Huh? Against Russia? Crazy. You hear this? Vlad said, if you do the offensive, look at this. Attack on Crimea will ignite Judgment Day response, said Russia's Medvedev. It wasn't Vlad. Medvedev was an interim president when Vlad had to sit his ass down for a minute. And they're together, actually. But look at this. Attack on Crimea will ignite Judgment Day response. What does that mean? What is Judgment Day? If you understand what's being said here. Okay? Judgment Day is code for we're launching nuclear missiles. Okay? The day of the Lord, right, is about nuclear missiles. So in this headline, this is what they're saying. If you run your offensive and you attack Crimea, which we took from you in 2013, 2014, we're launching nuclear missiles. That's what that says. We will respond, see that word response, by launching nuclear missiles. That's what's being said.
Not only in response to the Crimean Bridge, these statements, Shoigu has already ratcheted up. He's the military commander of the Russian military. They've already ratcheted up the intensity of the combat, and they've said that if you follow through with this major offensive, which Ukrainians are saying is a necessity for them even going to the negotiating table, then it's game over. We're just going to launch everything at Kiev. So that means that Ukraine is potentially looking at its imminent destruction unless we're hoping that these HIMAR and whatever other military supplies they're going to get, maybe they got some tricks up their sleeve, I don't know, for this major offensive. But, how does this doesn't end well. This ends in the destruction of that country.
Do you see what's going on here? People really believe that this is just going to go away. And it would go away if NATO and the Ukraine and Babylon would stop fucking with Vlad, but they're not. All right, they're pushing him right into a nuclear war. All right, going back to what that Joel Scalzon dude said, that they're trying to force his hand so that they'll do a first strike, and then when everybody comes out of their holes, somehow they're going to threaten with the nukes that they have left, but Babylon has space-based weapons. If you watch that interview, right? It's about maybe 3 updates ago. Go back and watch that. The Joel Scalzon interview. Anyway, and it was Nate too. So very informative, because it looks like that's what's going on right now. But there ain't no coming out of the holes. You're gonna be in them holes, and we're gonna come and yank you up out of there and throw you head first into slavery. Let's listen to a little more of this.
Period, point blank. I mean, it's already been said that they're going to go all the way. I mean, they're going to go all the way, and by them I mean Russia is going to go all the way into Ukraine. At least they're going to try, because I think it's become blatantly obvious. It probably was obvious from the start. They just didn't want to say it.
What is he going to say? He's going to say that he's reforming. He's going to allude to it. He's reforming the Soviet Union. He's going back to get all of his provinces back. Let's see what he said.
For the sake of some veneer of diplomacy, they knew they would have to take the entire country, because that's the only way they could ever, from their perspective, prevent any sort of new Ukrainian resistance from emerging and retraining and rearming and all that stuff.
And not just the Ukraine. Vlad wants the Soviet Union. He wants the USSR back. How do we know that we'll get it? In Ezekiel 37.
Now, from Europe's point of view, if Russia gets Ukraine, what's to stop them from taking the Baltic states?
There it is. If Russia gets Ukraine, he's going to get all of it. Not just Ukraine. Baltic states, meaning this nigga's reforming Russia, the Soviet Union.
What's to stop them from taking the Baltic states? You know, and is NATO really going to come to their aid? Could they even come to their aid is the question, especially after they have endured the best of what Europe has to offer, the bravest, the best equipped soldiers, and I'm talking about the Ukrainians. Oh.
The Azov battalion, the Nazis, who surrendered over there.
Could they even do that is the question. So, I mean, we're on the precipice of the shit hitting the fan. I'm not saying the shizzy hitting the fizzy anymore in this video. The shit is gonna hit the fan.
No more code. I'm gonna come out and say it.
Okay. Not looking good. Not looking good at all. Where should we go from here? What else should we talk about? Oh,
that's about it.
If you guys didn't know, the U.S. State Department is hiring a nuclear threats program advisor.
Look at that. Where is this thing going? Okay, look, this is the talk. Here's the talk of the latter half of 2022. Okay? The latter half of 2022 is about 2 things. Okay? Nuclear missiles and the chariots of Israel and UFOs. Okay? Don't get it twisted. All having to do with World War III. World War III is about nuclear missiles and UFOs. Okay? All right?
Great timing there, Washington. Great timing. The Department of State's Bureau of International Security and Nonproliferation, Office of Cooperative Threat Reduction, funds, manages, and implements counter-proliferation programs that address evolving national security threats, blah, 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 including nuclear nonproliferation and security threat posted by aggressive Chinese and Russia civil nuclear reactor exports to vulnerable third world countries or third countries. Anyways, so yeah, if you need a job, you get these nuclear PSAs, and now they're hiring. I think they're a little bit behind. I think this is stuff they should have done long time ago, don't you?
And let me just say this about UFOs and nuclear missiles. Okay, what relationship do nuclear missiles and UFOs have in common? Let me give you a hint. Okay, going all the way back to the beginning of nuclear missiles, guess what the UFOs do? They go to the missile silos, to the launch centers, and they shut them down. We know about that, right? They go and they shut the nukes off. They have no control over the nukes. I'm saying the actual brigade that's supposed to launch the missiles, they lose control over their own missiles because there's a UFO out there hovering around, shutting down everything. Why is that? Why is that? Okay, if you know anything about UFOs, they're always around military bases shutting down nukes. Why? Okay, because these are the components of World War III. Nuclear missiles. Who got the most nukes? What does this mean, Judgment Day? This means the day of the Lord. Who's doing the judging? Okay? Who's doing the judging? Yahushua is doing the judging. You can't have Judgment Day without Yahushua and the angels. And what are they doing? They're dealing in nukes, war. Judgment Day is about war. What war? World War III. In the middle of World War III, the UFOs, okay? Then the nukes, then the UFOs, okay? So they're all tied together, all right? When you understand. Okay, that's enough. Let's get it real quick and I'll go ahead and close, all right? I'll just get a couple real quick on the way out. Let's get World War III. It's Revelation 19. Got to come out. That's all you do is go, yep, exactly. World War III, they'll be fighting each other and then they'll stop fighting and come together to do what? Fight against the UFOs. Okay? Russia's against NATO. Russia, China, Iran, and North Korea are fighting against NATO, the EU, and Babylon the Great. All right? They're going to stop fighting each other and say, wait, hold up. We got to come together real quick and fight against the UFOs. All right? And I saw the beast, NATO and the EU, and the kings of the earth, all the presidents and prime ministers and their armies gathered together. Wait a minute. We stopped fighting. Stop fighting each other in World War III for a minute. Why? To make war against him that sat on the horse and against his army. Who's that? Who sat on the horse? And I saw heaven open, and behold, a white horse, and he that sat upon him was called Faithful and True. Okay? The Word of God. And in righteousness he doth judgment day. And make war. What's he coming back to do? He's coming back to make, well, what are they doing? What are they doing? They're making war on him. These idiots, the armies of the world, the kings of the earth, are making war on who? The one you ignorantly call Jesus, right? Where is it? The one you ignorantly call Jesus, the Word. Jesus is the Word, right? And the angels and the armies which were in heaven, the angels, followed him upon white horses, them UFOs, clothed in fine linen, white and clean. Clothed in clothed in fine linen, white and clean, is talking about the UFOs. Okay? The white horse is talking about the UFO. The word, his UFO, his spaceship is the white horse. He was sitting upon the white horse. He was flying the chariot of Israel. Okay? And these idiots down here, the armies of the world, stopped fighting each other. They gathered themselves together to fight against the horse. He that sat on the horse, what's the horse? The UFO and the angels' UFOs. Okay? All right? And a lake burning with brimstone, with a lake of fire burning with brimstone is the result of the nuclear missiles. Okay? So World War III is about UFOs and nuclear missiles. Point blank, period. This is Revelation 12 and 7. Salakia. Not 12, 11. Revelation 11 and 12. And they heard a great voice from heaven saying unto them, come up hither. And they ascended up to heaven in a cloud. There's your UFOs. They were beamed up. Who? The elect of Israel. They ascended up to heaven in a cloud, and their enemies beheld them. And the same hour, okay, so there's the UFOs, right? Right there. The clouds. In the same hour was there a great earthquake, and the 10th part of the city fell. And in the earthquake were slain of men 7,000. And there's the nuclear missiles. They go hand in hand. All right? And the remnant were affrighted and gave glory to the power of heaven. Revelation 11 and 14, the second woe is past, and behold, the third woe cometh quickly. All right? So get ready. Get yourself ready for the greatest show ever, ever, ever. All right? In all humanity. All right, so that's enough for today. We hope that the elect were edified, you brothers and few sisters. With that, we can say shalom.